FlossTube. Welcome to my channel. My name is Robin, and you have found my channel, Lady Robins. Thank you for coming to spend a little time with me. If you're new here, this is a cross-stitch channel where I talk about my cross-stitching, so I hope that that is something that interests you. Today is, the 6th of April, and this is my FlossTube number 70. I am thrilled that you're all here. I took a week off. It was spring break last week for my son, so I did not film. I thought maybe I might have a chance to do a FlossTube during spring break. It just didn't happen. So today we have 2 weeks worth of stuff to talk about, and I want to thank you for being here with me. Like, subscribe, leave comments, do all of those things, and let's get to it because I have a few finishes to show you. I'm really stoked about that. I finally finished, not fully finished, but I finally finished stitching on a piece I've been working on for quite some time. Let's start there, shall we? But before we do that, let's not forget our mug of the week. As you know, I am totally addicted to the Starbucks You Are Here mugs. This one is Cambridge, and my favorite part is the sailboats on the back of the mug. In here, we've got a half-consumed latte. Yep. It's that same latte I've been making for weeks. I'm still at it. It is basically a vanilla latte with some caramel syrup and a little cinnamon on the top. It's delightful. Anyway, happy mug of the day, right? Oh, that is the spot. Love that. Okay, so you guys, get your beverage and let's do some chatting about cross-stitch. Okay, so like I teased you, I have a finished object. If you're new here, acronyms are our jam in the FlossTube land. I have an FO, a finished object, which means I've done all the stitching. It's ready to go on to the next step where it becomes an FFO, a fully finished object, where it becomes something that's framed, it becomes a pillow, a little whatever. So let's start there. Where did I put it? Got it. All right. I have been working really hard on this piece this month. Cinnamon Stars. You guys, I have finally finished Cinnamon Stars. Look at this beauty. Can you see it? Look at all that. Yep. So while I was gone last week, we went out to the cabin, and this was one of the pieces that I brought with me. And I thought, wonder if I just concentrate, almost become a monogamous stitcher where I only stitch on one piece, if I can finish this guy. That's what happened. So if you're new here, you might not have heard of WIPS, which is the brainchild of Jessie Marie Does Stuff on, not YouTube, on, well, I think she's also on YouTube, but on, Facebook. Wow, that was hard to remember. But anyway, Jessie Marie came up with the idea of doing basically cross-stitch bingo. We call it WIPS, works in progress. And so every month she calls 2 numbers. And Cinnamon Stars was one of my 2 numbers in WIPS last month. And my goal was to stitch on it for 5 days. When I had completed my 5 days of stitching, I was just working my way into the smoke trail of stars, and I think I had 4 or 5 of these larger stars to do, and I thought I can totally see myself finishing up the stitching on this month. And well, I keep saying this month, I mean in March, and I did it. It's completely finally done. I'm so thrilled. And one of the things that I did go back and check. Now, another thing that I love is my stitching journal, which is by As the U Flies on Etsy. Christine. Yes, Christine. So anyway, in my journal, I went back and I checked on Cinnamon Stars, and I can tell you I started it on February 15th last year, 2020. So I finished it on March 30th, 2021. So it's not a ginormous piece, but it just took me a little over a year to stitch it, because I didn't stitch on it every single week. I, stitched on it when the mood called me, and it's now done. And I stitched it on a 32 count R&R linen in the color Apple Brown. And I used all the called for flosses that Paulette Stewart, the designer at Plum Street, created for us. So I didn't make any changes. It's exactly the way Paulette charted it. And now that I said that, I realized that I am a liar, pants on fire. The one thing that I did do is I used this, which is oatmeal, for my fence. I wanted to have a white picket fence in front of my little farmhouse here. So that was the one alteration that I did do, but I didn't change any of the colors. I just used a color that she already had created or used in her creation. So that was the one little teeny tiny personalization that I did on Cinnamon Stars. So there you have it. That is my first finished object. Yay! Okay, so the second thing that I got a finish on, and I'm looking around for it here. I've got a pile of stuff behind me because I've got 2 weeks of stitching to talk about. But the other thing that I finished was an ornament. And this guy has been hanging around also forever. I started stitching this in April last year. There's no excuse for an ornament to take an entire year, except maybe somebody's a little lazy. And I finished this snowman ornament. And I finished this on April 2nd, I think it was. And it is from the wonderful people at Lila's Studio. So there you can see it's a booklet. It has all sorts of wonderful ornaments for Christmas stitching. So I finished this, and I did make one change. The blue that outlines the snowman, for some reason I did not have that particular DMC in my stash. I was like, you know what, this is insane. I am not driving down to Michael's for one skein of a light blue DMC. I'm sure I can find something that will work. So on that one, I did do a substitution. If you need to know what it is, let me, shoot me a message in the comments and I can write it out for you. But that's my only substitution. So there we have it, guys. 2 FOs, 2 fully stitched pieces ready to be finished. And we all know that'll take me forever because I'm a slow finisher. Well, once I got those things finished off at the cabin, the other thing that I did was I was looking in this project bag, and I thought, what the heck do I have in here? Well, it turns out what I've got in here also is Hands-On Design, one of her Christmas collections. And so I started stitching that one, Silent Night, and it's not that much of a start, y'all. That's probably 20 stitches max, right? But I thought my husband, Mr. Wonderful himself, bought me a real skinny artificial Christmas tree for this coming Christmas, you know, one of those pencil trees, and I thought it would look really cute in our dining room. And he said, well, why do you want that? And I'm like, well, I just envision a tree full of cross-stitched Christmas ornaments. And he said, okay, well, make sure you fill it up, because I don't want to put up a pencil tree and only have 3 ornaments on it. Well, at the rate I'm going, we're going to have 4. So I thought, well, I better start being a little more diligent about getting some Christmas ornament stitching done early, so that I'm not scrambling on the day after Thanksgiving, which would totally be my MO, right? Okay, so those are my finishes. That was my one cute little new start for this 2-week period. Beyond that, I stitched on all sorts of other things, because like I said, we've got 2 weeks of stitching to talk about. So the other few things that I stitched on, and they're not going to be in any particular order, I did get some time on Hyperborea, which is my owl forest kit. And I think last time we were together, I was working on completing the stitching on this wing. And so that is now completely done. And so I'm starting to work on the wing on the other side. So there is the owl, which is smack dab in the middle of Hyperborea. So right there. So I'm working on that guy. And then there's all sorts of fun little motifs in this kit that I am just dying to stitch. There's seals. There's a fox. Of course, there's bears. It's just so super cute. I am looking forward to picking that back up here again soon. But that's all the time I got in on Hyperborea. I think it maybe only one day of stitching on that one, but that's okay. You know, all stitching is good stitching, right? I don't care if it's one day or, you know, 1 hour. Makes me happy. Okay, so that was Hyperborea. That was that guy. And my latte is calling me. I'm gonna have a quick little break there. Okay, so, and then I got some more stitching done on the summer SnapperLand. And so what I got done on summer SnapperLand was a start on card 3, and I'm starting on the lighthouse. I think maybe I had part of that grass on the bottom done when we were together last. Let me just show you card number 3. So there you can see I am working on that lighthouse. So that's gonna be super fun. This of course is by my beloved Bent Creek. I love all of their charts and designs, and I always forget, but I'm stitching this on a 32 count Belfast, I think they call it rue green linen. I just think of it as light blue. And yeah, getting some work on that one. That was my second Whip Go piece for March. And so on this one, I was able to complete my goal, which was 5 days of stitching throughout the month. So Whip Go goal complete. Say that 3 times fast, right? Okay, so that was one of the other things I stitched on. I did put in a little time on my Sense and Sensibility SAL from the Stitching Book Club. I am behind. She sent out the instructions for finishing it. I am not done, but that's okay. I'm still enjoying my stitch. So here it is. This is on This is on a beautiful, again, this is 32 count fabric. This is by Brandy at BeStitchMe, and I believe this one is called Sleet. And this was one of her fabric of the months. So I still have quite a bit of stitching left to do on Sense and Sensibility. I'm trying to think. When last I showed this, I don't think I had any of the purple stitching done. I think that was new. All this down here was new. And I think maybe even the orange, I think of them as tulips. I think those orange tulips also I put in. So I got quite a bit of stitching done on my Sense and Sensibility SAL. And I'll just have to work that into my rotation in April, because I definitely want to get that finished up, because, you know, she's got four pieces planned for 2021, and this is just the first piece. So I'm sure the next one is going to be coming at us before we know it. I don't want to get too far behind on that. So Sense and Sensibility, that's my stitching on that guy. And then what else? Let's see, I think those, sorry, move these back behind me. Oh, okay. Then the other things that I got up to since I saw you last were my WIPS pieces for April. So 2 numbers were called in April, and not that you care about the numbers, but it was number 3 and number 21. So for WIPS, number 3 is a piece that I have marked down as a finish for the month. I've probably lost my mind. But again, I always think, oh, that's not so much stitching, but as I'm working on it, I've already done 2 days of stitching on it, and I'm like, oh, there's a whole lot more stitching in here than I thought. So what am I talking about? I attended FriendStitch put on by Bent Creek last year, and this is the patterns for FriendStitch. They were exclusive to FriendStitch. They said they're not going to sell them. They're not going to release it to the general public. It's very, very exclusive. If you rent a FriendStitch, you got these. So I am working on this one, and this one, I just think of it as the FriendStitch sampler, but they actually call it the Gift of Peace alphabet. That's its official name. So anyway, I'm working on this guy. And let me show you where I'm at. So they gave us a big piece of linen in our kit. So you can do it all on one piece of linen, or you can, you've got enough room so you can cut it in 2 and stitch them separately, which is kind of what I'm planning on doing. But anyway, what I'm hoping to do this month is finish my Gift of Peace alphabet. So when I picked this up, and I've done 2 days of stitching, I had to finish the little birdie down here, and I had just started, I had put in the angel at the top of this tree, and so I'm working that middle tree on the pattern. And what I have discovered is somehow, it's me, I was able to get this off. I think it's down like one block, you know, 1 stitch down, and I think it's 1 over. I don't know how I did it, but you know, it's what happened. However, normally I can't stand trying to figure out how to fudge something, and I will frog. I will frog before I fudge. This one, I'm not frogging, you guys. I am sitting here at my computer, and I am trying to figure out how to fudge it. And I think I'm doing okay. I don't think you can really tell, because what happens is this tree kind of is the background tree. So as long as I get this kind of figured out, and then this one kind of is in the foreground, and I get that one put in right, I think it'll be fine. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is how close that border is going to be. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. But so that's my first April WIP Go piece. Hopefully the fudging won't be so bad that that'll be noticeable with that border. I'm a little worried about the border, but I'm just going to keep charging at it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. That's what I'm telling myself. Okay, so that is my first WIP Go piece, and my goal for this one is a finish, because I don't know about you, I have got so many stitching plans in my head and patterns that I've purchased and things that, you know, I mean, obviously I've purchased. I just have so many things I want to stitch that I need to get some finishes. So this for a finish. Okay, so there's that guy. And then my second WIP Go piece was number 21, and it's also a Plum Street, and it's also an exclusive pattern is what I understand. This is a kit that I purchased called Good Company through Acorns and Threads. Oh, that's really shiny. Let me take that out of there and show you what I'm up to. Okay, so that should look better. I mean, look at that fox. I love a good fox. So I am working on that. I've already put in 2 days on this guy. And this guy, like I said, it was a kit. It came with all the floss, all the fabric, and I am stitching it on a 36 count Vintage Country Mocha by Zweigart. And, you know, there's some of the flosses. So when I picked this guy up, I had actually worked on this. I started this in February. I think it was started on the 15th or the 16th, something like that. So when I picked this up, I had the roof done. I had that beautiful, I think of it as a sunflower. I had the beautiful sunflower done, and those couple little leaves. And so when I started, I was able to get the entire side of the house, that beautiful quilt star is what I think of, and then I'm starting on this and got a couple of windows in. That was done in only 2 days. 2 days, you guys. And what I am discovering is stitching on 36 count with 1 strand of floss, your stitching flies. I'm thrilled with how much progress I have made on this guy, and I'm thrilled with the ease of stitching with 1 strand of floss. I have been a 32 count, 2/2 girl forever. That has been my jam, but boy, my jam might be changing up, because this is just, it's stitching up so quick I can't hardly believe it. I'm just thrilled with how easy it is to stitch. So there you go. Yeah, I might be changing my tune a little bit. Old dog, new tricks, right? Okay, so that's my second WIP Go piece. And so both WIP Go pieces, I still have 3 days. Well, no, I still have 3 days left on Good Company, which you can order through Acorns and Threads. Their information will be in my show notes. So if you are dying to get that pattern, do not despair. If your local L&S doesn't have it, call Acorns and Threads and they will get it to you. Those gals can really help you out. So I still have 3 days left of stitching to do on this. We'll see how far I get. And then shooting for a finish on that FriendStitch piece. Okay, I don't don't think I've missed anything. That was 2 weeks worth of stitching. I got some good stitching in, and I had a blast doing it. So, as we know, the next thing is some haul. What did I purchase? I did not purchase that much, you guys. In fact, what came in, sorry for the rustling, were just fabric from my Fabric of the Month from BeStitchMe, and it is beautiful. So this is from Brandy at BeStitchMe. I am part of her Fabric of the Month club, and in fact, I had contacted Brandy and said, can you switch me from 32 count fabric to 36 count fabric? Because I've got so much 32 in my stash, I thought maybe I should branch out. Okay, so this is called Through the Stones, and I'm thinking maybe I should open the bag. But you know what? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I couldn't find the seam. Okay. Sorry for the crinkles. Yikes. Okay. So this is beautiful. It really has a nice light green tone to it. And that doesn't show green at all on my camera. Let's see here. Maybe if I put, there you go. Now, hopefully, you can see a little bit of that green color, and you can see the really delicate modeling that this piece has. I really like this. In fact, I would hazard to say I might even love this one. You know, it's green. It's got a green cast to it, so I love it. So that was one of my my purchases, and then the other purchase, again, sorry for the baggies, I should have thought this through. I decided to join a second Fabric of the Month club because I saw a post on Instagram and I went nuts. I mean, I was like, you know, DMing them before, you know, like within seconds of seeing this. So what I have decided to do is join the Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers Fabric of the Month Club. Say that 3 times fast. And this is what knocked my socks off. This is called Jade Dragon. Can you believe that? That is just outstanding. I mean, look at that color. Look at that. Yeah. So, I get a 17 by 26 inch piece of fabric. This is my first time getting their fabric, but I am thrilled to have this. So, that is my first Fabric of the Month from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. They were great because they were posting basically, hey, you know, here's what March's Fabric of the Month is, and I contacted them. I said, is there any way to become a Fabric of the Month club member, and can I start in March because I really want Jade Dragon? And 5 seconds later, she had responded, absolutely, we can make that happen for you. So I got that, and then they also had a specialty thread pack for March called Beyond the Clovers. All sorts of greens. Green is my favorite color, as I say over and over and over again. So it came with 5, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 hand-dyed flosses. They're 10-yard skeins, and they are beautiful. So we have got this one, which is called Crystal Drops. This one is called Spring Leaves. I love that. Well, I love all of them. This one is Clover. Yeah. This one is Jade. Look at the variegation on that guy. Fantastic. And then last but not least is Daisy again. I love it. So those were my purchases. I just got floss and fabric. Yay! I gotta say, you guys, I am just thrilled with my fabric and floss purchases this month. Couldn't be happier. Can't wait to figure out what I'm going to stitch on those. Okay, so after we talk about those things, I thought it has been a long time since I gave you a book recommendation. I've been reading, I just haven't been remembering to share it with you. So I thought I would tell you that I am still reading my Cozy Mystery by Ellie Alexander. I am on book number 3. These are set in Leavenworth, Washington. And it is so much fun. This one is called Beyond a Reasonable Stout. I'm loving it. I can envision the town of Leavenworth as I read these books. So if you're a Cozy Mystery fan, Ellie Alexander. Yep, that's what I'm reading right now. What am I listening to? Well, Leigh Bardugo's latest book, The Rule of Wolves, has come out, and so that is what I spent my Audible credit on this month. So I am listening to the brand new Leigh Bardugo Rule of Wolves, and it is just as good as the previous one. So if you need a good listen, that's good as well. And then the last thing I'm reading is Vanessa Yu's Magical Paris Tea Shop. It's kind of a contemporary fiction. I don't quite know how to describe it, but it's charming. It's totally fun. I am having such a great time reading that as well. So those are your three book recommendations if you needed those. And I'm glancing down at my notes. The other thing I wanted to show you, I was going through my floss. I am still trying to start, let me show you, you saw this last time, Bent Creek's Gnomes in the Garden Row. Because I want to start it on this beautiful moss green lakeside linen. It's actually called patina. And I feel like I need to change some of the colors. So because of that, I am still goofing around trying to do color swaps on that. And it's really hard for me because I stitch exactly what the designer charts. I make very few substitutions, but I want to pump up the colors a little bit. And one of the greens, we talked about this last time, I think is too matchy-matchy. So I'm trying to figure out a different green. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that one of these fiberlicious, yummy fibers is going to end up in the Gnome in the Garden Row. I think one, maybe even two. So anyway, because I was doing that, I had absolutely torn apart my craft room. I had floss everywhere. And I've got floss, poked in this hole, poked under my desk. I've got those wooden bins back there. I've got one of those where it's like I've got, Gassed over here and Weeks over here and Color and Cotton here and Classic Color Works there. And I had it everywhere. I finally had to stop and say, you know what, this is insane. I have got to get a bit of a system. So I have taken a page out of my local LNS's chart. What she does to display her flosses for purchase is she puts them on great big huge rings, and she just has a tag telling you this is, letters, of course her rings are much bigger than mine, but like A through E, and then F through J or whatever. And I thought, you know what, I've got a tag die cut, and I went and I bagged everything up in my floss away bags, with, you know, the maker and the name of the color. And I just put them on big 3-inch rings. And I have done that for all of my fancy floss. So here I've got my Gast. Here I have my classic colorworks. I don't have too many classic colorworks. I've done the same for my weeks. I am working on my color and cotton because I also get color and cotton. And now I've got yummylicious fibers to put together the same way. I didn't know if you would be interested in that, but I thought I would share a little bit of my organization. And what I'm thinking, old phone, is I've got a pegboard, which I have spray painted green. Of course, green, right? It's my favorite color. And so I'm going to install that on one of the walls here in my craft room. And I'm just going to put little hooks in it, and I'm going to hook them on here so I can see them. And also I think it'll be, you know, really pretty visually. So I've got a little organization to do here in my craft room. And once I get it up and going, I will take some videos and I will share that with you. All right. Last thing I wanted to tell you is I watched a really fun FlossTube the other day, and it had pretty much zero to do with cross stitch, but it was somebody's book library tour. They have a home library, and you know me and books, I love my books, and they're everywhere, and they're not organized well, and my bookcases are kind of a mess. And I had the best time. I watched Gables Stitcher, is that right? Yeah, Gables Stitcher, her library tour. It's one of her more recent videos. It was so much fun. If you need a break from FlossTube and maybe being unable to purchase things, how about a book room tour? It was so fun. So I would recommend you check out Gables Stitcher. Gables, it's got an S, so 2 S's, Gables Stitcher, and check out her library tour. It was super fun. I'm so inspired. I want 100 Billy bookcases like she has from IKEA, and I want to redo all my books. I want to throw them all on the floor and put them right back up, but in her very clever organizational system. You guys, that's it. That's what has inspired me this week. This is what I've done. My plans for next week are pretty simple. I am going to keep stitching on Good Company, and what else? And the FriendStitch. My gosh, I've already forgotten what my go pieces are. I'm going to keep working on Good Company and the FriendStitch piece alphabet. And then beyond that, I think I'm going to put some more love into Sense and Sensibility and maybe try to finish out the other wing on my owl in Hyperborea. That's what I think I'm going to stitch on. You never know. You never know, because I, like you, sometimes can pick something up and go, not feeling that today. But that's what I think I want to stitch on this week. All right, you guys, I have had a blast, a total blast talking to you. Leave me a comment. Let me know how you're doing. I missed you guys last week. I was out at the cabin and we were doing spring cleaning, so I was a little tired, but luckily I got plenty of stitching time in the evening to recover from all of our hard work, cleaning up boathouses and cleaning up nature. You know, when you have lots of trees on your property, there's lots of branches that come down in the winter time. So that's what I was up to last week. It was fun. It was fine. We had a great time. All right, you guys, I love y'all. Have a great week. Hope to see you shortly, like next week. I can't think of anything that would prevent it, but you never know around these parts. All right, have a good evening or morning, and I will see you later. Okay, bye, friends.